All right, welcome everyone. We'll be starting in about another 20 to 30 seconds. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Soil Institute of Management. Today's session is titled How Careers Are Built at Soil. The objective of this session is to help students understand the process behind career development at Soil, how preparation begins, how roles are aligned with profiles, and how students are supported through different stages of the journey. We are joined today by Mr. Sandeep Ranjan, Director of Career Management Services, who will walk us through how the career development framework at SOIL operates. We are also joined by Dr. Minal Verma, Associate Director and Faculty of Marketing, who will share perspectives on how academic learning and career preparation intersect. We will begin with a short presentation by the Careers Director, followed by a student led discussion, and then open the session for questions from students. With that, Sandeep sir, please carry on with the presentation.
Thank you, Siddhant. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. I am Sandeep Ranjan. I'm the Director of Career Management Services and Industry Relations. I'll just take first couple of minutes to introduce about myself. I have more than 20 years of work experience where I have worked in both corporate and placements. Corporate, I have largely worked with recruitment consulting firms, and with placements, I have worked with B schools like Indian School of Business, Great Lakes Institute of Management. And before joining School of Inspired Leadership, I was with SBA Bocconi Asia Center in Mumbai. So as Siddhant mentioned that we are going to talk about how careers are built at Soil. I have prepared a small presentation which will run you through what are the areas which we work upon, what are the areas which we focus upon, which will give you a little clarity on how the exactly career management services work within Soil. Okay, so let me just share the screen with you. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so as we mentioned, we are going to talk about how careers are built at Soil. So first, let me touch on a very important topic, and this is something which most of the students they keep on pondering, they keep on asking about what is the difference between careers and placements. So as per Soil philosophy, placements are a single transaction. It's like the when you pass out from campus, the first job is the placement. That is what we call placement. But careers is something which is built over a period of time. You may look at 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So is it a life? It's a lifelong trajectory. It's not about the first job. It's about your entire career. When you talk about career, it's moving beyond your getting a job to a personal self actualization and overall personality development. So your long term career perspective plays a very important role in your own development professionally, where you want to be, what do you want to achieve in a long term or even a short term goal, which can be 5 years, 7 years, a long term goal, which can be 10 to 15 years. So when you move from placements to career, you move from getting a job to how you are going to define yourself in the next 15 to 20 years. As far as Soil is concerned, we believe in holistic readiness. So careers at Soil is designed as a journey of self discovery, connecting personal values for industry needs. So that's what SOIL stands for. We believe in creating value-based leadership for the industry, and that's where the careers play a role, where we try to connect your personal values with the industry needs through the journey of self-discovery. So the key distinction between a career and a placement is that a placement is about assigning a job, as I mentioned earlier, and career is more about planning and choosing a professional line, which is more of a long-term perspective. So, in nutshell, what Soil does is that while we build your career with the help of the first job, which we help you to get after you pass out from the campus. So the department for which me and Dr. Minal work, it's called Career Management Services. Let me tell you in a brief that how does Career Management Services actually work. So the structure is that we are a two team within the Career Management Services. One is the CMS which we are representing, which is largely focused on the corporate outreach, and then there is a Career Development Services which is focused more on the student preparation for the job opportunities which come to the campus. So there is a 5-step timeline which we work upon, and that's how things grow and things move as far as the placements and your long-term career is concerned. The first one is exploring and discovering yourself. So understanding more about your profile, understanding more about your aspiration, what exactly you want to do in terms of your specialization, what exactly role you are looking at, what is the industry, what is the domain. So it's all about psychometric assessment and early orientation to understand more about yourself and your aspiration. The second is engaging with the industry. So that's where we do a lot of activities right from the start when the students come to the campus. So we have Academia Industry Week where we call senior leaders, middle management leaders from various industries, various domain, and they talk about on a topic which is relevant for the current market. And obviously, there are a number of guest sessions which happen throughout the year. We invite people at senior level, senior middle management level. They share their professional journey. They talk about their industry. They talk about their company. So that's give you a perspective about what industry is all about. What is the life you are getting into? It helps you to decide on your specialization, on your career, which you want to choose, which can resonate with your current profile. Then obviously the next stage is very critical. This helps you to, when the opportunities are coming at your door, this helps you to prepare for those opportunities. So we prepare and practice. So there is these preparation and practices, clubbed in various buckets, and these are the buckets which we focus upon. The first one is communication. The second one is business and industry readiness. Then there is critical thinking. Then there is guesstimates, aptitude, domain knowledge, personal branding, and interview preparation. So this different buckets will ensure you that you are prepared on all the front, be it aptitude, group discussion, mock interviews, critical thinking like guesstimates, case-based interviews, domain knowledge. There will be domain knowledge sessions where you'll be brushing up your domain knowledge, which will you be learning in the curriculum. Then obviously the crunch time comes for excelling and showcasing your talent and what preparation you have done. So we have a campus placement week, and post that we have a rolling placements where companies come, assess the talent pool we have in soil, and the students gets jobs as per their aspiration. And along with that, you also do the networking and the growing by across 22 countries all over the globe. So this is a 5 step timeline which we look at in preparing for your placements. And the support mechanism is the faculty-led career cells working alongside the student representatives. So the CDS is largely driven by the faculty, which is who drive all this communication, business, and industry readiness, critical thinking, etc. We also have support from our alumni network and the industry mentors who gives us the industry perspective. As far as the profile evaluation and positioning for recruiters are concerned, we do multiple things. The first thing is we run assessment tools to understand what are your core strengths, what is your interest, where your profile fits really well into the improvement areas, considering what career you want to make. Then, during the admissions, we already do an evaluation of your profile on the academic merit, the leadership potential, and the alignment of your profile with the soil's value, ethical leadership and sustainability. The CMS team and the CDS team helps you in the refinement process. They work to map students' interest with specific hiring requirements. And then we try to position your profile as not only as qualified, but as a purpose-driven leaders with specialized expertise in marketing, finance, analytics, or operations. So that's how we evaluate and position the profiles for the recruiters. Now, there is a very important question, very pertinent question when it comes to soil. We since we offer both the programs, the 1 year program and the 2 year program, there is always a critical question that how the preparation is very different from 1 year program and the 2 year program. Obviously, it is different because the job or the placement which you get post your campus hiding is different when you compare both the programs. So just to give you a preparation strategy, a PGDM is a multidisciplinary foundation built along long-term development for those who are largely having 0 to 3 years of experience. Having said that, we also take people with slightly higher experience. This allows you time to explore majors and minors. So there are a lot of activities you do in the 2 year program. You do summer internship, you do live projects, a lot of corporate engagement happens, which allows you time to explore and the majors and minors which you want to take. On the other hand, PGPM is an accelerated leadership intensive program for professionals with minimum 2 years of work experience. Since it's a fast track program, it's a short program. It focuses on rapid skill upgrades to leverage on your prior work experience because all this profile come with a prior work experience, and they look to pivot on their immediate roles. So somebody might be coming from a coding role or a technical profile, and they want to get into a consulting or a analytics or a finance or an HR or an operations role. So largely the students who come here, they try to upgrade their skills, leverage on their industry experience for going for the career pivot. So the recruitment engagement is focused basis on the program. For PGDM, largely the roles are entry to mid-level roles, and PGPM is mid to senior management positions. So, for PGPM students, they often engage with recruiters as early as in term two, that is October. And we also have a specialized PGPM program in HR, which is for future leaders, HR leaders through curriculum co-created by top industry organizations. As you know, that Soil has been created with a consortium of 32 companies. So we have a leverage of the industry network, which helps us in creating the curriculum for all the programs. It's not only for PGPM HR, but for the PGPM core program and the PGDM program. What are the recruiter expectations and hiring patterns? Largely the roles can be divided into various buckets. There is consulting and strategy, there is marketing and sales, there is HR and finance and analytics. What are the things which typically recruiters look at? So for consulting and strategy, it's a high demand for problem solving and AI-led decision making. For marketing and sales, it's emphasis on brand management and digital platform tools, and obviously leveraging on your networking skills. For HR, they look at the culture, engineering, and AI-driven HR strategies. Finance and analytics is it's about the demand is more for predictive analytics and sustainability and ESG reporting. So these are the current market trends we are talking about, apart from the basic domain understanding and the skills are required for various functions. We also maintain a hygiene factor. So Soil has a high campus hygiene policy. We do not entertain any job which is less than 8 lakh per annum plus as a base pay to protect the student ROI. So that's how the hiring patterns and the recruiter expectations are set at Soil. So the next important question is that what aspirants should realistically assess? The first is you should look at a cultural fit. Uh, does your focus is on social innovation, self leadership aligned, which aligns with your personal values? That is something which you have to critically evaluate about your profile. You have to be ready for the intensity. It's a PGPM is while PGPM is a condensed and a short program, a 1 year program, daily fast track program. It is a high pressure format, but PGPM is also equally rigorous program which is a lot more immersive. It's a little more structured than PGPM because things happen a little at a slower pace, but it still requires a lot of rigor, especially for people who are coming directly from the college. So you have to be ready for the intensity of both the programs. Then obviously there is the important term which is being used these days by the MBA aspirants, which is ROI. So that ROI, which you talk about, what are you ready to trade off for that? Jump when you compare with what your pre-MBA salary was or with your post-MBA salary, or you're looking at a certain amount of figure. or you are looking at a long-term, you know, profitability, versatility, or you are looking at a further education options like post PGDM you want to pursue or your doctorate program. So this is something you need to decide about. You need to do a trade-off between your immediate salary and a long-term perspective which you are looking at. Ownership is largely with the students. The for placements, but our job gets restricted at getting opportunities for you. The conversion remains with the students through their active participation, preparation, intent, and ready to put in the rigor and the hard work. So we are merely facilitators. What kind of placements you get after the completion of your program is completely defined by your own efforts. Some of the key takeaways I will look at from this presentation is that beyond placements, what do you want to look at? Building a future. The curriculum is designed to instill lifelong skills, ensuring graduates remain adaptable in the evolving global economy. That is the key focus on soil. While I always keep on saying that the job which you get post campus is your first job, but how you are going to be in the next 10 to 15 years, that's where soil is working upon. Individual aspirations. Students receive tailored guidance to match their unique career interests with the industry demands. So we have a mentorship program where you have one-to-one mentorship with industry leaders. So there is a tailored guidance not only through the faculty, the CMS, the CDS, but also the industry mentors and the alumni mentor. There is a nurtured growth within soil. Success is measured by sustained professional growth and in leadership development, not the initial job offer and the salary figures. So that's the key takeaways I would like you guys to take from today's presentation and the session. The last two slides is talking about the kind of placements we had for the class of 2025. So all the figures are here. I will just pause for a couple of seconds to have a look. You can have a look at the kind of placements we had last year. This is the PGPM placements. So we had the highest CTC of 21.8 lakhs per annum, average of 12.3. Top 50 percentile of the batch had 15.4, and the top 25 percentile of the batch had 18.8 lakhs per annum as the average salary. We had 95% placements, 5% did not opt for the placements. For PGDM, we had 93% placements, as 7% did not opt for the placements. 20.7 was the highest salary, 11.17 was the average, 12.97 was for top 50% of the batch, and 14.27 was the average for the top 25% of the batch. So that's it from my side. Over to you, Siddhant.
Thank you so much, sir, for bringing up those points. Moving on to the student-led interaction, I have some questions which will be for the both of you, of course. Now, students often ask when career preparation actually begins at SOIL. From your perspective as mentors and teachers, what do you think students should focus on in their first 6 months to build a strong foundation towards their career preparation?
So, at SOIL, actually, the preparation begins right from the start of the program. And when I talk about the first 6 months of the program, there are a lot of things which already happens in the first 6 months itself. We believe that the moment student comes into the program, the preparation should start right from that day. So there are a lot of things which we do right from day one, apart from the corporate engagement, apart from the CDS engagements. Obviously, there are mentorship which is run by the industry mentors, alumni mentors. But if you have to ask me that what are the areas which we need a student should focus in the first 6 months, I will be saying that there are some pointers which I would like to focus upon. The first one is the self-discovery and the personal branding. The first thing which the student should do come to a campus is to understand that what are they expecting out of the MBA? What are they expecting in terms of their career trajectory? And this involves a lot of things. This involves the understanding about your own profile, your own preferences. A psychometric assessment helps you to identify those things. It also helps you to understand by industry interaction about what kind of industry, what kind of role, what kind of specialization you want to get into. And then obviously there is the personal branding which starts right from day one. So you want to build up your resume. Typically for a PGDM student, a fresher student, the resume is quite blank. You have to work upon building up your resume. You have to do some LinkedIn branding because obviously today's world is all about networking and creating a professional identity. So that is one point which you need, the student should focus upon in the 6 months, first 6 months. The second is I would like to talk about the industry engagement and mentorship. This is something which I had already spoken about in the self discovery as well, but this is an important aspect which a lot of the students need to focus today because it not only helps to give you a perspective of the life you are going to lead after the program, but it also helps you to understand and identify the gap which you have in your profile because you need to time to work on the on those gaps. Suppose you want to look at a certain career and your profile might be ready only 60%. So that 40% coverage, how you need to fill that gap, that is something which is being identified through this industry engagement, this mentorship. So typically in soil, the students are assigned to one-to-one mentor. These mentors, you need to engage actively with these mentors to understand more about the industry, to do self-discovery and prepare yourself accordingly. The third thing which I would like to focus upon is experiential learning and networking. So, as I mentioned, especially this is not only relevant for people who are freshers, but also for people who are experienced. They should look at adding some industry knowledge or understanding of the role or the function which they want to get into through live projects. Live projects is one of the easiest thing to get on a campus. These are largely driven by the students. You can reach out to your through your networking, you can reach out to corporates and ask for live projects, and they are very happy to give you. Live project is, a part-time internship which you do based in campus. So this happens right at the start of the term. This not only helps you to understand about the corporate, acts as a corporate exposure, but it also helps you to build your resume, especially with people who don't have experience or people who are coming with certain kind of experience and they want to pivot their role. So they create a value add in the profile through these live projects. Obviously, it's very important that you do a lot of networking internally. You join various interest clubs. This will not only help you to sharpen your knowledge and skills, but it also helps you to develop your soft skills, your communication skills. Become a part of the Toastmaster club. You become a part of the theater club. You own your soft skills. You create your connections and do a lot of networking and knowledge development happens. So that is extremely important in the first 6 months. Then obviously, you need to identify the skill gaps and you have to create those core competencies. So you need to understand how to reach from that 60 to 70% to 100%. You may look at doing certain certifications. So that will help you in your professional skill development. So these are the areas which I feel that the first 6 months are extremely important. The students who invest very wisely in the first 6 months, they are the ones who are better prepared. Every student come on the same plate when they join the campus, but the first 6 months will give you the right direction to the students.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. The next question I would like to address to Dr. Mrinal. Sir, how should students think about classroom learning? Not just grades, but how concepts in, say, marketing and strategy translate into real life roles.
Yeah, sure, Siddhant. So I think that classroom learning should be viewed as a sandbox for real careers, not merely as a place to earn grades. And the classroom is a place where students experiment, think, ask questions, make mistakes, apply concepts, just like a sandbox where you practice before playing the real game. And I can say that academics provide students with structuring and in the entire ecosystem of thinking, frameworks in marketing, strategy, finance, and operations that help them analyze problem logically. So in the corporate world, roles are really about memorizing theories. They're about applying concept to complex and real life situations. So for instance, I teach marketing. The SCP in marketing is not an exam answer. It translates into deciding which customer to prioritize, what value to communicate, and through which channel. Again, for strategy frameworks are not just slides. They guide decisions on growth, competition, and resource allocation. Grades do matter as an indicator of discipline and consistency. However, recruiters and managers look for something deeper, like can the student connect theory to practice? Can the students articulate decisions using business logics? Can they learn fast, adapt, and take ownership? Students who actively engage in classroom discussion, case studies, live projects, internship, which Sandeep sir has already discussed, are the ones who build this bridge. And the moment the students start asking, how would this work in a company? Instead of, will this come in the examination? Academics begin converting into careers. Students who treat academics as preparation for decision making rather than just scoring are the ones who grow faster, like you, and sustain success in the real world. And from my perspective, I can say that placement and internship are not events. They're the byproducts of strong classroom learning and meaningful beyond classroom engagement.
Thank you, sir. Uh, we seem to have a lot of questions from our attendees today. Uh, I'll just list out some of them. So, one question is, what is the batch strength for the PGPM HR course?
Manal, you would like to answer that?
Can you please repeat the question?
What is the batch strength for the PGPM HR course?
PGPM HR course, we generally entertain 60 students for one batch.
All right. Miss Ankita also has a question. Can age be or will age be a barrier in terms of placements?
A very pertinent question. I will really say this is an important question. Age is never, I will not say never, but it's hardly a barrier. In my placement career, I normally might have seen one or two companies talking about the age, but most of the companies is all about your profile. What companies really look at that, how your profile has grown, what kind of value adds you have brought to your profile. Typically, what happens, one of the problem with the age is that there may be some gap years in your profile. You have to have an important and compelling story to cover the gap year. So if you have any gap year which is more than 1 or 2 years, then there has to be a story which should be compelling enough to satisfy the recruiters that that gap was justified. And even within that gap, you were able to do something which was very value adding your profile or was something creative. That is important. So it's all about your profile. How do you present your profile? And how does the company see the value in your profile is more important than age.
Right. Another one of our attendees needs some clarification on a point that you stated earlier. So,
Mm.
recruiters look for culture engineering and AI-driven HR strategy. Can you please explain that further with an example?
So, for example, I'll tell you, cultural engineering is HR is the custodian of the organization culture. HR has to deal with people from various walks of life, various states, various languages, various cultures. And that's where HR has to play a very important role to have a very cohesive unit working in a company. So that cultural engineering is driven by the HR, where they manage people with from different background, different culture, different state, different languages to work together towards one strategic goal, which is, delivering business for the company. So that is something which is HR is expected to do. And this can be done through various sub HR functions, whether you are a HR generalist, whether you are a talent acquisition specialist, whether you are a L&D professional, whether you drive comp and benefit. Everywhere, cultural engineering plays a very important role. As far as the HR analytics-led HR strategy is concerned, there is a notion most of the HR professionals feel that number crunching is not part of an HR job. But analytics is something which is very critical for each and every role, and HR is not agnostic to analytics. Analytics play a very critical role. Your entire decision making is based on a lot of data which is being generated within the organization through various roles. So if you do a performance management, running a performance management system, you have a lot of data in hand with the past performance system to enhance the performance management system, to develop a 360-degree feedback mechanism, and to see what are the parameters on which the profiles can be evaluated. This is driven by data. when you talk about talent acquisition, obviously the data plays a very important role. How many people apply, why they choose to apply for your company, at which stage the conversion is lowest, at which stage the conversion is highest, what is the conversion from offer to actual joining. So all those things, so a lot of decision making in all the functions. It's not only about HR, but every function that is driven by data. What job me and Mrinal are also doing currently today, that is also driven by data.
Mhm.
So while I spoke about HR, but analytics-led strategic decisions has to be made across the functions, be it HR, finance, marketing, operations, anything which you talk about.
Absolutely, sir. There are also some questions about people worrying about not having the right background. So could you please elaborate on how soil helps students reposition their past experiences rather than start from scratch all over again?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, and I keep on encountering from the PGPM students. So, see, one of the things which most of the PGPM students, people with experience, they feel that they are restarting their career. That is something which is wrong. Soil focuses more on reinventing their careers rather than restarting their career. So what we do is that we try to identify the strategic value in the current experience or the past experience of the student, and basis on that we try to position that profile in front of the recruiter. I always believe that any experience, and this is a belief which is not only limited to me but to the entire CMS team and the soil team, that any experience is a value add for the student, as long as the student knows how to position that experience in front of the recruiters and show a correlation between what prior experience the student has and what is the role he or she aspiring for. So how we do it is that, again, there are a lot of things which I've spoken in my first question which you had asked. Obviously,
Mhm.
there is a self-development, phase where we do a psychometric assessment, and basis on that, we also create a development plan for students, where we try to map their professional and personal strength, and we try to, map it with the future career aspirations. That's where the individual development plan plays a very important role. Obviously, the one-to-one mentorship with the CXO or the senior leader from industry, they also help you to give you a personalized guidance on how to translate your technical or non-management, experience into skills which are more management-related skills. So that is something which we try to do. Experiential learning also helps you to rediscover your profile. You create a portfolio which is more relevant to your career aspirations, and which also connects the dots between your past experience and the role which you want to get into. So this is something which we focus upon in transforming your career from a non-management or a technical background to a management background. And obviously, on top of it, the integrated specialization tracks, the career readiness program which we run through CDS, these also helps you to students to map their prior experience with their aspiration and prepare accordingly. So, so in nutshell, what I want to again say is that we try to reinvent your past experience and try to correlate with the career which you want to opt for post your postgraduate program from SOIL.
Okay, thank you, sir. There's also another question regarding long-term career progression in terms of HR leadership roles. And our attendee is keen to know about what kind of support does the PGPM HR course specifically provide towards this journey?
So one of the things which I had already mentioned in my presentation is that the PGPM HR course is specially curated by the industry leaders. Soil has
Mhm.
an advantage of being co-created by leaders from 32 consortium companies, and these companies are proven industry leaders in the Indian market segment. When we talk about groups like Aditya Birla Group, Mahindra and Mahindra, ICICI Bank, Infosys, Volvo Eicher, these are the kind of companies who are behind this, creating Soil. So they are the ones who create an industry relevant curriculum. And obviously, we also leverage from our founder, Mr. Anil Sachdev, who is a renowned HR practitioner, who had a really great career in the HR domain, for the last so many years, and he brings a lot of experience, and we leverage his experience from industry, being a coach, being a consultant to the prominent leaders across India. So that also, we with the help of the industry curated curriculum, with the consortium, with the founders' legacy, we are able to create a curriculum, and we are able to deliver a curriculum which is more relevant to the current times, and which actually helps students to prepare for a long-term career rather than the placement or the offer which happens immediately after the MBA program. So what I want to say is that the HR is completely focused on the building up the HR career of the student. The reason why we have kept it separate from PGPM is that we want to focus on building the future leaders of HR in a way which is more relevant to the industry and which also follows the values of soil. So that's how we work on creating the HR leaders.
Absolutely, sir. Another question. From your experience as mentors and professors at the college, what do you think differentiates students who consistently do well in the process from those who struggle, even despite having, similar opportunities handed to them?
So the difference, I keep on quoting an example of many companies who come and give me a feedback that I often ask companies that what do you look for students when you come and hire? The only question which I get is the attitude of the student. Attitude is something which the students are being hired for. Skills, students will be trained. Companies are ready to invest time and money to train and skill the student, but the student should have the right attitude. So for me, the right attitude is the key differentiator from people who are successful, or students who are successful and students who are struggle, despite both of them getting similar opportunity. For example, if a student has a mindset and a proactive behavior towards learning new things, vis-a-vis somebody who is a laid back, who doesn't have the right attitude, it will be a key differentiator. uh, you know, they focus students who focus on self improvement, seeking challenges, will always be different from people who are avoiding goals, who have the fear of failure and unemployment, which obviously leads to a higher anxiety and reduced performance during the interviews. Students who are able to narrate themselves better, they are good at storytelling, whether you are from marketing, HR, finance, operations, it's all about selling your profile. So if you are able to narrate a right story, and you are able to brand yourself properly, which obviously it's going to make a difference. And the last point which I would like to mention, this is more relevant for people who come with a prior work experience. You know, whenever you talk about your experience, anything which can be quantifiable, which can be quantified, is always something which rings bell in the front of the recruiters. So if you are able to talk about things about how difference you could create, like talking about increasing the efficiency by 20%, 25%, overachieving the target by more than 100%, managing a team of so many members, you should be able to quantify what you have done in the past. So you have to show that you possess high self efficacy as far as your experience is concerned. You have the ability to meet the industry task, and you have proactive behavior to learn new skills, learn new traits. That's where they make a difference, and those are the people who get hired first. So that's what I feel is the difference between people who are successful and who are struggle.
Absolutely. Uh, there's another question, more so, directed towards prospective students that may not have a background in management and may be new to the management field. How does one go about choosing which subject to specialize in during their MBA?
Yeah, so I think this is something which I already covered in my presentation, and I've spoken also in one of the questions we had asked. The self-discovery and yeah, that is something which we do at the start of the program. And there are a lot of activities which we do. So we run a psychometric testing where students are able to identify their interest area, understand what their profile is more inclined towards. We do a kind of a one-to-one mentoring where the industry mentors are help you to identify what are your aspirations. And apart from that, we do a lot of corporate engagement to understand more about what the corporate role is all about. We invite people from various industry, various functions. People come from consulting, HR, finance, marketing, sales, analytics. They will tell you what it takes to be successful in their career, what are the best thing about those career, why they choose those kind of career. You get to learn a lot about their professional journey. For example, people who want to opt for marketing, there is a myth that they have to get into a branding job right from start. So, but you look at the successful CMOs, they have always started their career with sales. So that myth is broken. HR people feel that talent acquisition is not a core HR role, but most of the CHROs started their career as a talent acquisition specialist. So there are a lot of myths which are broken, which and we you also get to know, and your understanding develops that what kind of career you can choose, what kind of specialization you can choose. And obviously there is a pool of faculty, the CMS team, the CDS team, which helps you to realize your potential, and they will guide you on the basis of your interest, your aspiration, your mass profile. Your academic performance also may be one of the factor to define what kind of specialization you can choose.
Uh, Mrinal, sir, as a professor,
Adding to Sandeep's point, in the first year, the entire curriculum is based upon the generic MBA trend. So before you join any company for the summer internship, you will get to know the relevant concept from the industry side too. We are planning 2 AI week. That is the academia industry week, which Sandeep sir already suggested that, in which we invite a lot of industry leaders from different industries, and they talk about different specialization. About one day for HR, one day for finance, one day for other specialization. And as per your specialization, do a lot of live projects. Do involve yourself in different type of experimentation, case competition, and then accordingly you decide before joining your summer internship. Yes, Siddhant.
thank you, sir. Another question to you, Mrinal, sir. Uh, what do you think are some common mistakes that students make when they think of their career progression during the MBA program only in terms of their final placements and not the entire journey that they have to go through?
Shall I take this question, Manal?
Please.
Okay, so one of the most typical mistake that the students make is that they focus on the final placement rather than the preparation journey or the process. The placement only mindset is something which can lead to a lot of mistakes and which will undermine your long-term success. So there are certain things which the students really forget about when they really focus on what kind of job, what kind of role, what kind of company, what kind of salary they are looking at, rather than focusing on the process which is going to lead them to those kind of roles and those kind of job placements. See, in the placement process, typical placement process, which is largely driven by the number, the process starts with an elimination round, which can be an aptitude test, a psychometric testing, or a GD. A lot of students don't focus on that. They feel that they are good in interview, their profile is strong, they can speak about profile, and that is good enough to sail them through. But the problem is to reach to an interview stage, you have to pass through these two hurdles, aptitude or GD. In a typical campus placement process, almost 60 to 80% of the candidates often get filtered at these two stages. So even if you might be so good in your interviews, if you don't clear these two stages, you will not get your opportunity to showcase your profile. Hence, you will not get your job. So students take it very lightly. This is something which we have seen over the past years. Minal can vouch for it. A lot of students from the current batch, they also do not focus on this. So you should not neglect the elimination round. The second is the hard mentality of specialization. What do I mean? The students typically choose the most popular specialization like marketing and finance solely based on the short-term placement trend. So, there are a lot of marketing students. The highest salary has gone in marketing. The average salary is highest in marketing or finance. Let me also get into finance. Rather than looking at your own ability, your own interest, you go through, the herd mentality that I should go with marketing and finance, which, although it doesn't align with your abilities or aspirations, that is another typical mistake a student does. The third thing is that passive learning versus skill implementation. So you rely on your classroom theory, but typically students get rejected because the feedback comes that they were not able to implement the classroom theory in the real life corporate scenario. So it's very important for them to not only focus on the classroom learning, but also live projects, experiential learning, internships, club engagement, doing a lot of other activities which will give them a hands-on approach, where they can use their classroom theories. The third is obviously there are two more points I will quickly touch on it. One is choosing companies over roles. So a lot of time people are driven by brands, not the roles. And the last thing is that people undervalue the power of soft skills and networking. So these are the typical mistakes the students make, which I believe students should avoid doing it.
There's another question pertaining to the PGPM HR program. Is there an internship program in the PGPM HR program?
So, if you talk about the internship like we have in the 2-year program between the first and second year, which is part of a curriculum, then the answer is no. The reason why it is because one is it's a fast track MBA program. You don't have time for this. Second, most of you, except for few in the HR program, most of you come with a prior work experience. So that aspect is already covered. Summer internship is largely to give a on-job training to the students. So that is an experience which you already have. But having said that, you have an opportunity to do live projects which run parallelly with your program. It's a part-time internship project which you do mostly from the campus, along with your curriculum, dedicating some 15 to 18 or maybe 20 hours in a week. So that is something which is almost as good as internship. Apart from that, it's a mandatory social innovation project which the students do. It's I think a 6 or 8 weeks project. It happens every Wednesday, and the students are associated with NGO and social sectors. This actually is in line with the value-based leadership, the philosophy of Soil about creating a value-based leadership. So the answer is both yes and no. Yes, because the live projects are there. No, because the typical summer internship doesn't happen.
Thank you, sir. Uh, we can maybe wait for a minute to see if there's more questions. I request everyone to keep their questions focused towards career preparation, role alignment, or maybe their expectations from the program. All right. I believe that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you, sir, for sharing how careers are built at Soil in a structured and transparent manner. Today's session reinforces that career outcomes are the result of consistent preparation, informed choices, and active student participation throughout the program. Thank you once again to all the students for joining us today. And thank you again, Mr. Sandeep and Dr. Mrinal, for helping us with our webinar today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Siddhant. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
sir.
much, everyone. The only one thing I would like to close on one note. I think that all the students should always keep their hunger alive. This is going to hold you very good, not only in the MBA program, which you are going to do in Soil or any other institute, but also in your long-term career. The learning never stops. This is something which should be a continued process. So thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you, sir.